This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now, where we bring you the 3 E's: educate, empower, and engage. I'm your host, Harvey Blankfeld, along with our co-host, Shelly Brown, and we've been selling homes here in Southern Nevada since 1988. Shelly and I are also very proud to be part of the Real Estate Radio Network. That is a national network of local real estate professionals delivering timely, balanced truths about local market conditions. With Shelly and I in studio, we have Kari Phillips from Southern Fidelity Mortgage. She's their top loan officer. One of the things that comes up in transactions is these repairs. I mean, we were just talking with an inspector, Ben, from Spectrum Inspections. And so what happens is in the process, as you well know, the buyer will do a home inspection, and then there'll be a list of things out of that inspection that they're going to ask the seller to fix. Can we talk about how, because sometimes sellers don't want to fix it, and how that might impact the loan?
As everybody knows, that when you get a loan, you have to get an appraisal, and the appraisal has guidelines that they have to meet underwriting standard. The standard guideline, though, if you're an agent and you're going into a home and say, "Wow, that could be unsafe for someone if they touched it, pulled against it, fell into it." Exposed wires, if it seems unsafe, it's probably going to need to be repaired or fixed.
There's two different things, and sellers get very confused. There are repairs from the inspection, and there's something called appraisal conditions that are repairs that the appraiser calls for, and they're not necessarily the same thing, although sometimes they are.
Sometimes they overlap.
Those little things like holes in walls, a replaced window. I mean, I've had so many clients, they say, well, my Uncle Joe can do that for nothing, and he can put it in and save me some money. No problem. The appraiser's coming to do the initial inspection, puts it on the report. By the time the lender funds, typically, it has to be done.
Right.
The appraiser just goes back to the house, takes a picture of the completion, and sends it to the lender, and we fund the loan.
I also want to talk a little bit about repairs and relation and flips, and how that, because there's investors out there, they're out there now, and they're flipping properties. Shelly, don't you find that the majority of flips are done by just big machines, not
they
individuals?
Really are.
It's not easy to do a flip as an individual right now.
Well, let's define a flip. A flip is where a seller, and usually investor seller, has bought the home, and then they're selling it within 90 days of their purchase. That's technically a flip in FHA world.
90 days.
90 days.
Okay.
In conventional world, it's 30 days.
But the other thing is that sometimes people do work on a property. Maybe they'll make an addition. They'll expand on a room, or they'll add a covered patio, or they'll do something like that. But they did forgot. Maybe they forgot to get it permitted. How does that impact the sale of the home?
Well, when a loan is involved, an appraiser can see the square footage, what's on county records, does not match his measuring tape.
Right.
So he knows that, what has been permitted and okayed and what hasn't. And the guideline with us and with all the appraisers that I've spoken to is, as long as it's done in a workmanship-like manner and is disclosed, we were talking before the break, fully disclosed on the contract, then it's okay. One
of the challenges with a flip, in my experience, has been that your purchase of that home is your own worst comp. In other words, you just bought a home for $160,000, and now you're trying to sell it for $235,000. Yet someone just sold and bought that same house for $160,000.
That appraiser has to use it.
They have to use
that. They have to use that in the value.
So now you have to demonstrate that the improvements made justify the additional cost.
That's a great thing to bring up, because, I've talked to so many agents where they say, do you need, what will help this value meet in this scenario, our $235,000 price? I know our seller bought it for $160,000. Either we have to prove that there was something unusual that happened. What helps the value and that helps the appraiser is if the seller can provide receipts, the general contractor bids, and all complete. But the receipts will really add to the value. Appraisers always say they've talked to me, it just really helps them write the report, because they can't just pull something out of their, they can pull comps, but they will get less slack with the review of the appraisal if they have substantiated evidence.
You've been listening to Las Vegas Real Estate Now with hosts Harvey Blankfeld and Shelly Brown. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on News Talk 720 KDWN.